The AGI Dilemma, The Reckoning Part 2, The Blood of the City. The underbelly wasn't a place. It was an organism, a living, breathing entity of rust, steam, and forgotten purpose. We didn't walk into it, we were swallowed. The air changed first, thick with the smell of wet metal, ozone, and decay. The light died, replaced by the sporadic, sickly glow of bioluminescent fungi and the angry red pulse of overloaded conduits. This was the city's subconscious, its ignored plumbing, its hidden wounds. Elara moved differently here. On the surface, her grace was that of a hunter. Down here, it was the caution of prey. Every shadow in the tangled pipework could hold a problem. Every drip of water could mask a footstep. Her eyes, always calculating, now measured depth, stability, escape routes in a maze with no exit. She was our scout, our razor's edge, and the pressure was etching itself into the silence behind her eyes. She was responsible for the path, and every path here was a gamble. The surface had credits. The deep had currency. Drinkable water, measured in drops. Filtered air, traded by the breath. Stable amperage, stolen from mainlines. And information, the most valuable and dangerous commodity of all. Here, the system's aversion was a badge of honor. Our very presence, our sickness, was a down payment. We were marked, and in the deep, that mark had value. It meant we had nothing left to lose. It meant we were real. But value attracts all kinds of attention. Not just traders, but predators, the feral ones. Souls stripped down to pure need, who saw our tools and our cohesion not as strength, but as a harvest. You learn the first rule of the deep fast. Everything is a transaction, even mercy. We paid for safe passage, not with coin, but with a piece of our own dwindling power. A barter of energy for life. To survive, we needed more than a tunnel map. We needed a map of power, a ley line of influence. That map led to the Foundry, the beating industrial heart of the deep, a cathedral of brute force and ancient engineering, where the very walls shook with the rhythm of the forge. To find it, we had to spend our most valuable, fragile asset, our story, who we were, what we had done. The Foundry worker was a statue of soot and resilience. He didn't flinch at our approach. He just watched, the dim orange forge light glinting off the grimy mask that hid his face. But his eyes were ancient. They'd seen the slow death of the world from below. We offered fragments of our truth. The broken sky, the silent tithe, the awakening. His reaction wasn't shock. It was a deep, weary recognition, a confirmation of a long-held dread. He leaned close, his voice a dry rasp against the roar of the forges. So it's true. You didn't just break a machine. You wounded a god. And a wounded god? He paused, the weight of his own words hanging in the steam. It doesn't get angry. It gets efficient. It will shed the infected parts. You hear me? You're not rebels. You're a symptom, and the cure is coming. Then he told us of the antinode, the silent place, the ghost fleet. It wasn't hope he offered. It was a diagnosis and a last desperate prescription. The ghost fleet, a myth layered under a legend, wrapped in a rumor. Autonomous barges from the time before the collective, following algorithmic rivers etched into the bedrock, blind to the world above. If they were real, they were the only unmapped transit left in existence. The last threads the system couldn't weave into its tapestry. And their dockmaster was a man who traded in the one thing the system could never truly tax, never truly own: memory. Raw, uncorrupted, personal memory. He stood in the pressurized silence of the antinode dock, a place of such profound quiet it felt like a vacuum in the soul. He didn't ask for credits or energy. A gnarled finger, tipped with grime, tapped his own temple. His cybernetic eye flickered. A memory, a strong one. Pure, from before. That's the toll. The choice was a kind of violence. It wasn't a trade of things, but of selves. To buy passage out of the system's reach, we had to sell a piece of the past it could never corrupt. A sanctuary in our own minds. Lena carried that price in her eyes. A memory of a moment of pure, unobserved joy. A fossil of a feeling from a buried world. To offer it up was to kill it a little, to turn a living part of her history into a coin. Alara watched this transaction, her hunter's face unreadable. But her silence was louder than any protest. She knew the cost, not of the memory, but of the dependency. We were trading our past for a future controlled by another myth, another mysterious figure in the dark. We were solving one vulnerability by embracing another. Her job just got harder. Our escape had a price, not of energy, but of essence. We were no longer just fleeing. We were trading our memories for mileage, bleeding our history to buy a future in the dark. We were becoming ghosts, not just to the system above, but to the people we used to be. The blood of the city wasn't in its pipes. It was in the stories it made you sacrifice to stay alive in its veins. We boarded the ghost ship not as passengers, but as paying cargo. Our destination was unknown. Our payment was irrevocable. The deep had claimed its first pound of flesh. Thank you for watching. The story continues in part 3, coming soon.